I want to share this idea of having unlimited energy. And I want to share this insight with you and make this video because I feel like so many people, right now it's the end of 2023. So many people in 2023, and I'm sure this will also be the case in 2024, lack energy. They lack motivation, they lack energy most of all. And without energy, obviously you cannot do anything. If you don't have energy, you can't go to the gym. If you don't have energy, you can't have better relationships. If you don't have energy, you cannot make more money. You cannot start a business. You cannot find a side hustle that will improve your life or at least attribute to more income to sustain your lifestyle. Does that make sense? So you need energy to do all those things. So in this video, I want to kind of share with you the ways you can kind of create more energy. And I'm going to give you two different methods to do this. One of the methods is going to be more mindset based, and one of them is going to be a little bit more practical. So I'm going to start with the mindset based one first. The mindset way to create more energy, and this is going to sound so basic, it's going to sound so simple, but I think in the simplicity lies the effectiveness of it. The thing you need to do the most is see yourself as the kind of person that has unlimited energy. And the way I recommend being that type of person is to simply declare yourself as that kind of person. And I know that sounds simple. I know that sounds basic. I know you're sitting there thinking like, oh, there's no way that can work. Just think about it for a second. Here's my perspective on this. And I do this all the time. That's why I'm saying this. Most people hypnotize themselves to be low energy. If you listen to the words a lot of people say, what they'll do is they'll say, oh, I don't have energy for this. I don't have time for this. I can't do this. All of these negative things about what they're incapable of. Instead, what they should be doing is declaring to themselves and declaring to the world around them how capable they truly are. If they were to do this, I'm sure they would get a lot more done. It's almost like a self-confidence thing. Like if you have no self-confidence, of course you won't get things done. You won't get things done because you don't believe it can be done. But if you had a lot more self-confidence in yourself, you'd get a lot more done. Even if you failed a lot, you'd also be doing more along the way, which will ultimately lead to a success eventually. Therefore, the person that believes they can ultimately will, and the person that believes they can't will never do anything worth achieving. Does that make sense? So, first step. Declare that you have unlimited energy. I do this all the time in my own life. I always say, you might, if you follow me on Instagram, or if you follow me, if you've seen other videos of mine, or like any gym videos, I always say to myself, I have unlimited energy. I have unlimited energy. I have limitless energy. I always say this all the time because it's true, and it's true because I say it is true. I know that sounds arrogant. I know that sounds woo-woo. I know that sounds like mystical, magical, mumbo jumbo, but it's not. It is true. You have to believe that something is true in order for it to be true. And I've said this in other videos before, but the reason why I think this is true is because I believe that identity is the ultimate governor of how we act and how we behave. Your identity shapes the way you act. It shapes the way you perform. It shapes your behaviors. So the only thing you need to do in order to have a certain set of behaviors and a certain set of actions is to shape your identity into the kind of person that has those identities and those behaviors and all that stuff. Quick story, and I know this is gonna sound wacky, but I think in a weird way, it's proof that this concept works. Back when I was in college, and you may have heard this in other videos, but back when I was in college, I used to do pickup. In college and like a little bit after college, I used to do this thing called pickup. If you're not familiar with pickup, basically what it is, it's just kind of different ways to attract women and ultimately sleep with women, all that stuff. One of the techniques I learned when doing pickup, and I thought it was super wacky when I first heard it, but I tried it out and it's weird how well it worked, it's called the celebrity effect. And so basically what the celebrity effect is before you go out into the world, before you go out to a bar, before you go out to a club, or before you go out just trying to approach random girls, whatever it is you want to do that day, see yourself as a celebrity. See yourself as someone that's super approachable. See yourself as the kind of person that's been in like movies, the kind of person that people want to come up to and get an autograph from. Does that make sense? So that's the celebrity effect. Now I tried the celebrity effect, and the very first time I heard about it, the first time I heard about it, there was this old YouTube channel. I haven't seen them in a long time, so I don't know if they still exist. But if you get a chance, try to type them in. I don't know if they still exist, but I imagine there's videos of them somewhere. It was this old channel called Simple Pickup, and one of the guys was named Kong. And this guy Kong is the origin of me kind of understanding this concept. And basically the celebrity effect, like I said, you believe yourself to be a celebrity and people will treat you like you're a celebrity. You walk into a room, you walk into a bar or club, and you kind of feel like you belong there. You feel like people want to talk to you. And in a weird way, because you feel this to be true, it almost kind of becomes true. And it kind of wraps around to this idea of identity, but it's part of my story. I tried the celebrity effect one day. Very first time I heard about it, I was like, there's no way this works. Like, this sounds like garbage advice. How does this work? It sounds like just nonsense. I go out to a bar, and I remember it was like a Thursday night, so like no one was really out. It was just like, if you went to Penn State, I'll tell you the exact bar I went to. It was called Cafe 210. I went to this place called Cafe 210. It was a Thursday. It was like a Thursday. I think it was a Thursday or Wednesday, and no one was out. It was a Thursday. I went out, and there was a band playing. So there was like a few people kind of like in this back area where this band plays, and there was like a few people like in the bar, but not a lot. I go up, and I get my drink that I used to always get at the time, vodka cranberry, and I pretend like I'm a celebrity. So I kind of pretend like I belong there. I kind of got dressed up, and this is around the time where I started wearing like accessories and like necklaces and stuff like that. Nothing like too extravagant, but just trying to step it up from the average college male, you know, typical outfit. So I go to the bar, and I remember I got my cranberry vodka, and I just sit there, and I'm just, you know, sipping my drink at the bar, kind of just like watching the TV screens and kind of listening to the music, kind of glancing around, but nothing particular. Almost like trying to feel as if I'm trying to be like incognito. Like I'm a celebrity that wants to just get out by himself and just kind of enjoy the nightlife without people harassing me or without people trying to get autographs from me. This is like the mindset I had. And so I remember this, like I said, there was like no one there. This girl comes up to me. She's like, oh, hey, how are you? Oh, what are you drinking? And she starts having a conversation with me. Now, you might sit there and say, well, she's having a conversation with you because you're like one of the only people there. And that could have been true. But I found that whenever I do the celebrity effect, I've done it at bars, I've done it at clubs, people always come up to me and approach me and start asking random things. People say like, oh, that's a cool necklace you got there. Oh, you got some cool jeans. Dude, you work out. It's weird. It's like it's almost like people are more willing to start a conversation with you, which makes life easier for you, of course. And the reason why I think this is true, I don't think this is like magic. I don't think this is like any actual like woo-woo stuff happening. I think that because you see yourself as a celebrity, you're also, without realizing it, displaying the traits that a celebrity would have. If you see yourself as a celebrity, subconsciously, if you kind of believe it to be true, you probably start to display signs of openness. You might have more open body language. You might be standing a little bit more upright. You might look a little bit more confident. And like I said earlier, I started wearing like necklaces and better clothing and going to the gym and all that stuff. All of these things, I think, packaged together into creating that celebrity effect. So this is kind of what I mean when I say, and this kind of ties back to the idea of if you want to have unlimited energy, you need to declare that you have unlimited energy. Will you sitting there saying I have unlimited energy automatically give you unlimited energy? No, it won't. But I think by saying it and trying to believe it to be true, you will subconsciously begin to act in a way to make it true. You will begin to do more things. And my personal belief when it comes to like the idea of just general human energy is that the more you use it, the more you get. When people, I'll tell another story. A few years ago, I was with my, I had a roommate, and like I said, if you've seen any other videos or if you've watched any of my other content, if you know me well, I wake up at 5 a.m., I go to bed at like 11 or 12 a.m., but then I wake up at 5. I usually on average get about 5 hours of sleep. Some days it's 4, some days it's 6. Sometimes I try to like get 8. It just depends, but usually 5 is like my sweet spot. But I work and I move all day long consistently. I do not take naps. I don't get tired. I do it consistently. And at the time, I was going to the gym in the afternoon. So I wake up early. I was working at like in retail. So I was working at like American Eagle and Brooks Brothers. I'd wake up, go to the my jobs, and then come back in the afternoon and then go to the gym. And then come back from the gym and keep doing more work because I also had a business on the side. I was doing like a drop shipping fitness apparel business. And so my buddy was like, how do you have so much energy all day to do all these things? He's like, I wake up at like 8 or 9 and I do like one thing and then I feel tired. And I said to him, I believe that you have to use energy to create more energy. If it's almost like momentum, like an object in motion stays in motion, an object at rest tends to stay at rest. I think it's the exact same concept with humans. If you're doing things all day, if you're using your energy, you're going to get more energy back in return. If you choose not to use your energy, you won't have energy to use in the future. Your body will kind of like adapt to it and say, oh, you don't need energy? Fine, we're not gonna give you energy. But if you're using energy so much, your body's kind of like, oh, well, this guy's always using energy. Let's give him more energy. He keeps using it. Give him more, give him more, give him more. It's like muscle. It's like if you don't go to the gym and use your muscles will not grow. Your muscles will begin to atrophy. But if you go to the gym and if you use your muscles more consistently, if you lift heavier weights, if you do more with your muscles, then your muscle will go through this process called hypertrophy. I think it's the same concept with energy. You need your energy to go through hypertrophy rather than to go through, is it atrophy? Maybe it's pronounced atrophy, whatever. You get the point that I'm making. So that's more of the spiritual, mental way to get unlimited energy. Basically, you have to declare yourself as having more energy. And I think because you declare it to be true and you have to believe it to be true, you begin to subconsciously do the things that will ultimately lead to you creating more energy. Now, the second thing that I think you need to do, and these two kind of overlap, but I think this is a more like direct approach, the more practical approach that I mentioned I would give to you, is you need to find a way to move more often. I truly think that in the modern era, most people are conditioned to move too little. Most people, if you really sit there and think about it, you're conditioned from when you're in grade school or in high school or college, whatever, to sit in basically one spot the entire day for several hours, like 8 hours a day. You're conditioned to just sit there and just do nothing effectively. I know you might say, oh, you're studying or you're doing homework or you're going to an office, whatever. You're basically doing nothing. Physically, you're doing nothing. Like typing on a computer to me is not really exerting that much energy. So for the most part, you're conditioned to just sit down and do nothing. Now think about this as an adult. You wake up in the morning, you are doing nothing by sleeping. You get in your car and you go to work. If you drive, say 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, you're doing nothing. You're driving. The car is doing all the work. You're just sitting down and you're slightly moving the steering wheel. It's not really doing anything. You go to your job. Chances are you work in some kind of office setting, unless you're like a doctor or something like that. And I don't even know if doctors move around that much. Most jobs, you're probably just sitting, or you're, for the most part, not very active. Okay, so another 8 hours, you're just not doing much. Then you get back in your car to go back home, another 20, 30, 45 minutes, maybe an hour of sitting and letting the car do all the work. Then you get home and you probably watch TV. Again, more sitting, more not doing anything. And then you go to bed. Again, so you're not sitting, you're not doing anything. You're just being inactive. Most of the day, you're not active. In order for you to practically get more energy, in order for you to get unlimited energy, you need to be doing more things each day. Now, a few years ago, I used to work at a law firm, and eventually I quit my job. Eventually I quit my job. I started this company called Affinity with a business partner, and I would work from home for the business. In order for me to kind of keep my energy high, what I would do, I would literally do this. I would set an alarm for each hour, and my little label for the alarm would say re-up. To this day, I still have some re-up alarms in my calendar, and people look at my alarm. Sometimes they're like, what does re-up mean? It doesn't matter to them. I don't tell them because they don't really care. But I had this labeled re-up, and basically what a re-up means is you have to give yourself a re-up. It's a re-up of energy. So every hour, I'd be sitting at my desk and the alarm would go off. And that was basically a signal that I have to get up and move. I have to do something. Anything, do something. Push-ups, flop around, just wiggle, shake, anything. I have to use some kind of energy. I have to start moving around, at least for a few minutes. And I would do this every single hour throughout the entire day until about 11. Now, the reason why I did this is because, like I said, in order for you to get energy, you have to use energy. And this is the more practical, more direct way of using energy. Setting an alarm and reminding yourself that you need to be moving. Now, the reality of the second practical step is that it's going to be difficult for a lot of people. Chances are you probably work in like some kind of office setting, depending on your age, or you might be in college. If you're in college, it's a little bit easier because you're not in class all day. You're not like in a class for 8 hours straight. You get to walk around campus. You have breaks in between, so it's a little bit different. If you're a college student, this might not apply, but you can still think about this just in case you feel low energy. If you're an adult, it's going to be a bit difficult to take an hour each day. I'm not saying it's impossible. I think even in an office setting, I think it is possible to probably set alarms and maybe like make an excuse to get up, go to get water, go to the bathroom, stretch a little bit, stand up, wiggle, whatever. You might look a little bit weird, but who gives a fuck? Because most people are low value, low quality, so who cares what they think? I'm being dead serious. But I understand that it could be difficult, depending on where you are, depending on your setting. It might be difficult to do it each hour. What I do recommend is still try. Still try. If you can't do it at work for the 8 hours you're at work, try to do other things in your life to move more, to be more active. If you can help it, try not to drive everywhere. Try to walk. If you can help it, if you're at home, try not to just sit on the couch when you get back home. Walk around, stand up longer. Does that make sense? Like, just do more things that give you more energy. Try to use your energy a little bit more. And I guarantee that over a certain period of time, if you keep doing that, you'll have more energy in response, because I think the body will adapt and say, oh, this guy's using more energy, therefore we need to give him more energy. Now, before I kind of end the video, there is one thing that I want to bring up. And this is, I think, what's going to hold a lot of people back. This thing that's going to hold a lot of people back is their habits. There's a good book called The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. And in the book, he states that, don't quote me on the exact number, but about 65%, something around that number, 65% or so of a human's daily activity, of a human's daily behaviors is all habit. Now, the issue with habit is that you have to find a way to change your habit. And that's usually by doing something different with kind of intentional effort over a sustained period of time. So for example, if you're the kind of person that eats a lot of sugar, in order for you to break the habit of eating sugar, you need to actively try to not eat sugar and replace the consumption of sugar either with the consumption of something else or with a different activity or something else. But it's got to be direct. It's got to be intentional, which means you have to put conscious effort into it. You have to be thinking about it. And that's the difficult part. Your brain's going to stop you from wanting to do that because your brain doesn't necessarily like change. Your brain likes consistency. It likes things to be easy. And putting energy into doing something so precise takes mental effort. It's going to probably stress you out a little bit. It's going to probably give you like headaches, or it'll probably make you feel a little bit more drained than normal because you're using more energy. But again, this is all good. You're going to have to get over that kind of hurdle of trying to actively change your habits. I bring this up because I know that for most of you watching this, you're going to have this part where you're sitting there and you're like, you know what? I will try to move. I will try to move more. And you'll try to move more for about like, I'm going to turn my light on. You're going to try to move more for about like a week, maybe 2 weeks. And then you're going to like revert to your old habits because it's easier. And I'm saying to you right now, it might take 1 month at least. It might take 2 or 3 months to change this habit. I think most scientific studies say that it usually takes about 60 days-ish to change a habit. I have found that to be true and false at the exact same time. In my personal experience, some habits I found take a long period of time. Like if you are trying to go to the gym and you've never gone to the gym and you're trying to make a habit out of it, it might take 6 months. It might take a year to make that into an actual habit. And then other things take much less time. Like if you're trying to make a habit of, I don't know, you get shoes and you're trying to tie your shoes, that might take like a week to get into the habit of tying your shoes. I'm just making up something on the spot. But you get the point that I'm trying to make. Taking time to intentionally exert effort and intentionally be more active and intentionally move around more and expel energy so that way you can get more energy back might take a few months of consistent repetition for you to make it into a habit where you find yourself getting that energy because you're just doing more things more frequently. So I just want to bring that up because I know that's going to be a pitfall for a lot of you watching this, and I don't want that to happen to you. I want you to overcome that. So I'm trying to tell you what's going to happen before it happens, so that way you don't fall into the trap. So that's my advice. That's my ways of getting unlimited energy. 2 ways. First way, like I mentioned, see yourself as the kind of person with unlimited energy, declare it to be true and allow it to be true. And then subconsciously you will engage in the actions and the behaviors and change your identity into someone that has unlimited energy. Second thing you need to do, if you want to go the more practical, more direct route, is simply set an alarm for each hour and do your absolute best to consciously try to be more active and try to exert some energy each time that alarm comes up, each hour or half an hour, whatever you want. And by doing either of those 2 things or both of those things, you will find that you'll ultimately get unlimited energy. Let me know, not if this helps, let me know how much this helps when it does help, assuming you actually do what I said. And And if you like the video, of course, as always, like the video, comment below, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out, bye.